What are some easy ways you can improve your pilot resume? Hey, MzeroA Nation, Jason Shappert here. Welcome into the Commercial Pilot Podcast, brought to you by our #1 rated online ground school. Check it out, MzeroA.com, or take a 2-week trial, MzeroAtrial.com to learn more. I want to chat with you today about this idea we have of improving your pilot resume. Now, this is a topic I don't get to talk about a lot because when I make a video for MzeroA, it has to reach just such a large audience, right? I mean, we're talking to student pilots, to seasoned airline pilots, and everybody in between. That's why I love these podcasts, is it allows me to speak to a niche of that audience. And I know many of you listen to all 4 podcasts. However, since this is the Commercial Pilot Podcast, we like to stick to commercial pilot topics, and this is assuming some of you, most of you listening to this, are wanting to continue on into professional aviation. So let's talk about some do's and don'ts in improving our pilot resume. And I'll start with the don'ts because I made so many of the don'ts. Now, I have a very different career in aviation than most. People still to this day come up to me and go, hey, where are you taking aviation, Jason? What do you want to do with it? And I think like this, I've got my dream job. I love what I do. Never let anybody tell you you can't make money as a flight instructor, because you absolutely can do that. And we've talked about that on the CFI podcast as well. And we can talk about that at length, maybe in some upcoming episodes. But I made a lot of mistakes early on. I have a lot of hours, over 10,000 flight hours. And a common question I always get asked is, how on earth, Jason, did you get 10,000 flight hours? And I did it in a lot of ways that don't exactly, I don't want to say don't look good on a resume. 10,000 hours looks good on a resume, but how you build that, well, that's another story. For example, early on, I thought I would try a career as a banner tower. Well, you know, that only lasted 1 flight. Maybe you've heard that story of my first flight was a banner towing emergency. And I thought to myself, banner towing's not for me. But I had this notion of everybody just told me, build time, build time, build time. Time builder is even a phrase we unfortunately give to some flight instructors who are just there for a season. And I don't like that phrase. I like to use the phrase experience builders instead. But they get coined time builders, whatever that means to them. Right? I hope they truly define it as an experience builder, not at the cost of someone else, a student. So I tried banner towing, and then where I built up the majority of my time was as a traffic pilot. And you all know this story, so I apologize for digressing into it, but I really built up a ton of time as a traffic pilot. Now I'm here to tell you, although I have a logbook that says I have 10,000 hours, thousands of hours of those are doing traffic, and they're not exactly what we would call quality hours. They're hours flying around Jacksonville, Florida, reporting traffic accidents. And that was the job. From 7 in the morning till 9 o'clock, I would report traffic accidents. Then from about 9:30 on to about 3:30, I would fly with students. Now that's some quality time there, by the way, some quality dual given. And then it was back to the traffic airplane from 4 to 6 to report traffic accidents around Jacksonville, around the beltway around Jacksonville, the same loop, 4 hours every single day, about 4 hours of dual given in between. And it just, wow, you don't realize how much time you build up. And then 2, I was doing just regular, flying back and forth to visit my parents in Ocala. There was a lot of time, and some of it was quality, like dual given. Oh my goodness, quality time. But traffic flying, as much as I loved it, and I'll share with you what I learned and what I loved from it, it's not the quality time. When you go and you hand someone your resume, and when someone applies for a job at MzeroA.com, of course, we look at the resume before we even interview the individual. And one of my questions, if it's for a CFI position, is I look at the quality of the time. I would weigh more, and this is my personal bias, so feel free to chime in the comments below. My personal bias, I'm going to look at somebody who sends a resume with 500 hours of dual given much more strongly. By dual given, I mean they were a CFI giving instruction. I'm going to look at somebody with 500 hours of dual given, they've given that instruction, stronger than somebody who's 500 hours of, say, banner towing. Now, this is not discounting banner towing. Banner towing is some hectic flying would be a way to put it, right? Some stressful flying, some challenging flying. You are a good stick and rudder pilot. There is no doubt in my mind to be a banner towing pilot. But banner towing poses similar challenges, each and every time, whereas, my goodness, when you start flying with students, every day is a new day and a new battle and a new thing. And sometimes I would call myself, I'm just a lifeguard up here. I let them take it just to the point of error, and then we work to fix it and work backwards from that error. That's sometimes your life as a flight instructor. So when you're looking to build your resume, you want to make sure you're building it with quality time. Now, again, if you have an opportunity to tow banners and you want to do it, by all means, go do it. If traffic is still a job, because ours got outsourced to traffic cams, and now I'm sure drones and everything else, that job doesn't exist in Jacksonville anymore. But if that does exist, or pipeline patrol, whatever that is, and you have the opportunity, by all means, take it. And there's some unique opportunities in there. I know a lot of guys and gals who do pipeline patrol, and they do it in a Cessna 310. And they say, Jason, I can't pass up the multi-time. And I don't blame you, because multi-time is hard to come by. I am all about that, right? But you need to understand, you need to also balance that with the experience. If your goal is to go to the airlines, and you're going to get your 1,500 hours doing pipeline or doing banner towing, you're competing against guys and gals that are getting their 1,500, helping a buddy out sitting right seat in a King Air, or right seat in a Pilatus, or just 1,500 hours of dual given, which is a hard way to earn those 1,500 hours, but you come out of that a very seasoned pilot. You're competing against those guys and gals. And let me tell you something, we are back to being competitive in aviation hiring, especially right now. It is, there's a lot of good people jumping jobs right now, leaving what would have been considered even 3 or 4 years ago a great job to go to a better job, because some of this pay is just lucrative now. I mean, Magda and I were just watching, we don't watch much TV, but the little bit of TV we were watching, an ad came on about how Amazon, no matter what position you're at, is starting at, I can't remember, it was 15, 16, 17 bucks an hour, starting out. And they literally say it in the ad, whether you're with us for a season or with us for life, we'll take care of you with these benefits, this. I'm like, good. First off, good for them for doing such. Secondly, when's the last time you saw somebody advertising on cable TV that they're hiring? Help wanted signs typically. Yeah, you'll see the occasional ZipRecruiter or Indeed ad, but to see a company posting ads, like, this is a hungry job market looking for very qualified individuals, and if not, they're willing to train them up to be such. This is the season to be building that resume if you're not there just yet. This is the advice I gave all through COVID, by the way. So many people are saying, I lost my flying job, my flight school shut down, I'm giving up flying, I'm going back to my IT job. And for those that I was able to speak to, I encourage them to stay the course, because so many people are going to be forced to retire. Do you know what the airlines did? On top of furloughing everybody, or most of their pilots, and a lot of those pilots just got a bad taste in their mouth. They lived through 2008, maybe even experienced 2001. Now they're experiencing this. Bad taste in their mouth, 3 or 4 furloughs. They're done with the furloughs. They're going to get a job in corporate America. And they're leaving. And they're very senior. They're giving up those positions. The airlines also offered early retirement. Typically, you're taking it all the way to 65. Well, now they're saying, listen, if you're within, I think it was 61 to 65 years of age, early retirement, full retirement. Even though you're 61, retire as though you're 65. To these guys and gals that are doing that, like how do you say no? How do you say no to something like that? That's challenging to do. So you have all this seniority that's left at the top, pushed the middle seniority up to become the lead in the seniority department now, and we're so hungry for pilots now, I'll say at the bottom, but climbing their way up to the top, because so many of these jobs are seniority based. How does this all relate to a resume? It relates to a resume this way. If flying is so seniority based, airlines especially are the kind of places where you pick your carrier and you stick with it. If you're in the American flow, you stay in the American flow. If you're in the United flow, you stay. Very, very rarely do you see individuals jumping companies, going from from United to Delta or Delta United, because seniority doesn't always cross over amongst those. Then you get into things too, like American has their own union. They're not even a part of all this. I'm not going to get started on all that. But typically, you're a lifer, to use a term, right? A lifer at these companies, because you stay there, you work through their flows, and you just get your seniority number and you work your way on up and through. You're very strategic about which aircraft you jump on, because you can move up and be more senior on one aircraft over another. And these are the things you deal with if you choose to go the airline route. Military can be similar with rank and promotion. Geez, even working at your flight school, if your goal is to be the chief CFI, well, let me tell you, if your goal is to be the chief CFI and your chief CFI is a 45-year-old that says, no, I'm a life CFI, I'm not going anywhere, that CFI is going to be the chief CFI for probably a very long time. As opposed to you go to a flight school where the chief CFI is more senior, we'll say. Gray hair is a crown of wisdom. I got 2 or 3 right here. You can almost see them. You might have an opportunity to move up as that individual gets ready to retire, and you can be the chief CFI or start as the assistant CFI of a great 141 program, or maybe it's an up-and-coming flight school that's building satellite bases. You can make a good living as a flight instructor as well. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. So how do we build a great resume? We build it with quality. Again, don't pass up an opportunity just because I said so. If there's pipeline patrol in a Cessna 310, multi-engine hours are like gold. Take them. If you want to experience banner towing, by all means, go do it for a season. I don't know if you'd make a career out of it, but unless that's totally, you say, Jason, no, that's my dream. Pursue your dreams, by all means. But go do it for a season. Typically in the summer times when banner towing is the hottest, obviously, go do it for literally a season. If there's a traffic job, whatever that may be, go do that. But I'll share with you, there's other great ways to build time that are jobs that not everybody wants to take. Things like right seat on an air ambulance. Amazing way to build time. Not everybody's willing to do it because you are just on call. And when I say on call, I mean 24 hours a day on call. Speaking of 24 hours a day, we have a little company down here called Life South, which transports blood all around just that, the South, Florida, Georgia, etc. They do it in Cessna Grand Caravans, and they do it by night. There used to be the idea banks would hire general aviation pilots to haul checks. We don't really do that much in the digital age, hauling checks much anymore, but that used to be a thing. And these were nighttime jobs. And again, let me tell you something, flying a Grand Caravan, yes, it's 2 in the morning. Yes, that's challenging, but if you're willing to adapt your sleep schedule to get some Cessna Grand Caravan time, I share all this to say there are amazing opportunities out there to build quality time. And now I want to turn it back to you. What are some other ways you are thinking about or you have heard about some amazing ways to build quality time? Let me know in the comments down below, and I read each and every comment. I read each and every review on Audible and on iTunes or however you are listening to this. I can't wait to hear some of your ideas for yourself, things you've heard of. Hey, Jason, someone mentioned this. Do you think this is legit? Whatever that may be, we are here to serve you in all things. So, MzeroA Nation, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this, to just find unique ways to better yourself as a pilot. Have a blessed, outstanding, abundant rest of your day. And most importantly, remember that a good pilot is always learning. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you.